Welcome back to another episode of Harmonious at Lunch, the show that fuels your business success. I'm Brandon Gano, your host and guide through the world of harmonious business growth. Today, we're unlocking powerful strategies with industry experts to help your business thrive. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or executive, you are in the right place. Join me and our incredible guests today on the journey to clarity, growth, and success. It is time to revolutionize your approach to business. Let's dive in with another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. Hey, welcome back into another episode of Harmonious at Lunch. I am trying something new this week, and we'll see if it sticks. Leave your comments down below or shoot me a message. I'd love to hear what you think about this, but I wanted to switch the format a little bit and do not a solo episode, but an episode just recapping the past week. So I have the episodes from last week ready to go over super quick. Stephen Perry, Shahar Boyayan, Devin Gonzalez, and Brendan Lee. We covered a variety of topics over the first 4 days of last week. And I figured, hey, let's do a weekly recap on that's released on Fridays for two reasons. One, because the episodes are short and my takeaways may differ from your takeaways. And I also get to talk to the guests behind the scenes. So I may have an interesting nugget or two that wasn't shared on the actual episode that I would love to just share with you as a listener. The second thing is running a daily show is crazy. And I've made fun of that on this show before. But I got into a situation, and you may have noticed this if you're a longtime listener, where we actually didn't post an episode for about 2.5 weeks, about a month ago at this point. But we ran out of content. We ran out of pre-recorded guests. We were going through a crazy period in transition of What If merging with HumanOp. More on that in a later episode. But I just ran out of time to record episodes with guests, and I still want to produce daily content. So this allows me to end the week on a high note, recapping what you've heard. Hopefully it jogs your memory and says, oh yeah, maybe I want to go back and either re-listen or re-download something a guest provided. But it also kind of gives me a chance to buffer and keep content coming out that's hopefully valuable. That's my first and really only goal with this show is provide valuable content. But make sure we don't get into a rut of missing long periods of time like that again. So I appreciate you sticking with us through that little gap a couple of weeks ago. But moving forward, like I said, we're going to just try this out and see what happens. So let's see how this goes. Let's dive in first with Stephen Perry, the episode that was released on Monday. This is the episode cover. If you're going on YouTube, if you're watching this, you don't need to stare at my face for this recap. But here's the episode cover on YouTube. Stephen was awesome. We talked all about his journey from being an employee, a very highly paid employee, all the way through starting his own business, taking that leap, basically giving up his salary and just trusting. And he has an incredible faith background too. So he just trusted God and said, this is what I'm called to do, believed in it, and put everything into it. I think his story was incredible. He's got his own capacity model that he kind of uses as a guide for what he's able to do in his life and his business. But this idea that he harped on in this episode was his goal of recruiting talent to replace himself. And I think that's something that I've heard from guests across the 350 plus episodes that we've recorded and aired for this podcast is the ones who truly succeed as entrepreneurs proactively try to replace themselves. They do not want to be stuck in their role for any extended period of time, whether that's just starting their business and they're the only employee, all the way up to people who have hundreds, if not thousands of employees. They want to get out of whatever role they're in as quickly as possible to be more of the business owner rather than just an employee of the business. Even if you are the CEO, that is still a necessary role in the business. You're not truly free from the business. Now, I'm not arguing that everyone who starts a business needs to be the owner and they can't have a role in the business at all. Please don't hear me say that, because a lot of us, including myself, love what we do and we want to be involved. But the wanting to be involved versus needing to be involved is a very important distinction. And that was one of the things that Stephen hit on. He loves what he does. And he's so passionate about it. You can hear it in the way that that he talks about his business and the evolution of it. But he understands that in order to grow it, in order to scale, in order to reach more people as clients and impact more lives for his employees too, he needs to proactively be working on getting out of the way of the business so that he can empower others to run the business. I thought that was just a really, really cool mindset and worth reiterating because, like I said, a number of guests have said that on this show, but he really had it dialed in to get out of the way of his business. And I actually realized I just made a mistake. That is not the cover. This is the cover, Beyond Comfort Zone. And that's the whole thing. That's his whole message is get outside your comfort zone, build outside of yourself for a business that can truly scale. Second episode that was released last week was from Shahar Boyayan, and I apologize if I'm butchering her name. She was an incredible guest. She had, if you watch the video, she had super fun colored hair, shirt, and background. It was awesome. It was great to get to know her too. But we talked about all about AI, using technology in your business, and really streamlining AI so that it can work for you, and it's not just this funky, cool tool that every now and then you use in your business. She talked about using it for enhancing customer service, streamlining your business ops, and most importantly, handling repetitive tasks in your business. I have to say, the number of people who aren't fully leveraging AI in their business, especially as the business owner or entrepreneur, continues to blow my mind. I talk to people all the time. I talk to guests on this show, and it's not that they're afraid of AI, but they can't fully comprehend the extent to which they can use it. And I mean, to some degree, I'm guilty of that too. But what I loved about Shahar is she broke it down, made it simple, and we talked about the mistakes that people make and how to avoid those mistakes. If you start shifting your mindset to every time you're doing something, ask, is there a way AI could do this for me where it's not a huge learning curve, or maybe somebody else in your company can do it, but can I start to automate some of this stuff with AI, or can I shorten the amount of time it takes me or somebody else to do this task? That mindset has transformed the way I get my work done every single day. And I find myself being like done, quote unquote, with my work after just a couple hours a day. But it's enabled me to increase my capacity, be way more productive, and just more efficient overall, which is of course the goal. We don't want to drain ourselves of energy and the time that we have available. We can go put that time into something else, into building a different part of our business, into delegating better, or creating more SOPs. Let's go back to what Steven said, working yourself out of a job. If you can systematize with AI and leverage it to get things done, you can get out of that role even quicker. And who knows, maybe even automate some of these roles so they don't require a human being at all, or they just require very little human interaction. Not that I'm all for replacing people and replacing jobs, replacing income, but if we can use people for more of the things that only human beings can do, everybody's happier. You have a better culture, you have a better workplace, you have happier people, and I think it's just a win-win overall. Now, we'll talk about this cover, The Right Mindset, which I put up before by accident, so I apologize again for that. But Devin Gonzalez. Devin was really, really cool to meet him. He's an awesome guest. He's building a different kind of gym, which we talked about this on the episode. The gym industry is so oversaturated. I honestly don't know how anybody really makes it in that market, because I mean, at least for me, I'm in the Raleigh area of North Carolina. There's a gym in every strip mall. There's one on every corner. I mean, it's crazy. And this is, I've seen that across the country as I travel. There's all these different brands and feels and formats for gyms. You have the Orange Theories of the world and the Planet Fitnesses and LA Fitness, 24-hour fitness, everything in between. And he started a new concept, which I think is really interesting. Group workouts, short workouts that are more adaptable, but require less overhead, less staff to actually run that model. And he's franchising it, which of course I'm always curious to hear how people do that, because creating a repeatable system in a business is one thing. I think every business should do that, whether you want to franchise or not. But to do that and actually pursue franchising, I have a background in that. I pursued franchising in my last business before I unpursued that route based on some core value mismatches, we'll say, with the company I was working with. But Devin has gone through with it. He's got a couple of locations sold, and they're in the process of setting up. And it's really cool to see how he's sort of disrupting the fitness market. He's thinking differently, pulling from other markets and other industries and applying that to his gym, and for his customers and his clients, he's getting crazy results. But also for his staff, he's able to provide a better workplace, a better culture, a better lifestyle for his employees and his staff. And I think that's going to be one of the keys as we move forward into this world of AI. As we recap what I just said, right? If we can replace people and the things that they don't want to do with robots and AI, that's awesome. But if you can also, physical training really should be done by a person in person, not even on video. His format takes that and says, okay, we can do that, but we can do it in a way that's best for the client, it's best for the trainer, it's best for the company, and it's a win-win-win all the way around. So really cool episode. If you want a different way to think outside the box and maybe look at your own business a different way, definitely go check out that episode with Devin. Maybe you'll pick up some ideas on what he's doing and what you could do for your business. It looks like I made another mistake. I'm all over the place today. So this is the cover for Shahar's episode, Common AI Errors with the Brain on It. Again, if you're watching, if you're listening, none of this matters. But the last episode of the week is now this one, Digital Ad Improvement. We've had a lot of people on the show talk about ads, ad strategies, Google ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, all these different things. It is for sure not my area of expertise, but always really cool to learn about how people run ads, how they think about their ads, and how they really keep it simple. And Brendan Lee was no exception. He was a phenomenal guest and really broke down his ad strategy and how he uses that to help his clients, just really dialing in on who the ad is for. And that to me is always, that's a common theme in the people who do talk about running ads, whether it's Facebook, Google, or whatever other ads, is really nailing your ICP, your ideal customer profile. Because instead of just spending money and wasting money online, he takes the time to walk his clients through. And he even did it on the episode. If you want to go back and listen to it, you can kind of work through that yourself. What are the key components of the ICP that once you dial those in, whether you run an ad or you're just putting out content in general, it could be even your emails. Once you have that dialed in, you're communicating with the customers or your potential customers at such a deep level that it's way easier to convert them. And that's not new by any means. I'm not saying that he invented this or I'm so smart for even picking that up. But again, it's one of those things that I feel like people miss a lot. I've been guilty of it. I'm sure you have too. Of if we skip that crucial first step, everything else behind it becomes harder. We're going through this in our company right now. We're running a new set of ads, and I wrote back to our CMO and I just said, hey, I don't see the ICP in here. I don't know who we're targeting. I don't know the problem we're looking at solving or we're hoping to solve with these ads. And without that, how can we really look later down the pipeline and say, if something is working or not working, how do we tweak it? So you start with this, you start with the end in mind, you start with the ideal customer profile, and then you can accurately design ads or design messaging that will connect with that person. And then you'll have something to build off of when you do collect data and it doesn't work. So I thought that was just a great episode, a great reminder of the fundamentals, right? I think that's that stuff that I'm talking about, where people, if we overlook the fundamentals, whether it's carelessness, laziness, or we're trying to be fast, the faster you go, sometimes the slower it makes you. And that's just a reminder. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. It's a good mantra to have in business. So let's recap this whole week. We'll do it again in order. We had Stephen Perry being outside of your comfort zone, growing your business. Then we had Shahar with common AI errors. We had Devin with changing the mindset and how you think about your business. And then we had Brendan talking about digital ads, digital ad improvement. So great week on Harmonious at Lunch. I hope you caught all of those episodes as they were released. If you didn't, well, now you know what they're about. You can go back and listen to them. And I hope this was useful. So I'll keep doing this again. Put it in the comments down below. Let me know your thoughts. I want to make sure we're putting out content that you want to listen to. And also, let me know what you want more of or what you want less of. We've had so many guests on this show covering a variety of different topics. I see the download stats and what people resonate with, but I want to hear it from you. What do you like about what type of topics do you like? What type of guests do you like? What questions do you have? I want to bring on the guests that are going to answer your questions and help you grow your business. So thanks for listening to this quick first weekly recap on Harmonious at Lunch. We'll see you back next week with the normally scheduled guest episodes, and then next Friday again for the weekly recap. Talk to you. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Harmonious at Lunch podcast. Make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you're on, and we want to invite you to join us in the Small Business Success Facebook group, our private group where guests and listeners come together to grow your business. We want impact-driven entrepreneurs who are ready to go to the next level in this group so we can all share ideas, collaborate, and grow our businesses together. Go to whatif.com/group, and we want to invite you to join today. See you on the next episode of Harmonious at Lunch.